I was spellbound by the devil's chains because I used to be a witch for 15 years. Schizoaffective depressive type with PTSD.
I am back with Brandon. This is our second interview. I think the most noticeable thing that people are going to see is that you've lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight due to a med change. I was on Zyprexa there for a bit. Then that's what caused it. And then I switched to Abilify and all the weight melted off. And I didn't really have to do a thing. I was up to 200 pounds, but now I'm down to 155.
And what dose were you on, and how often were you taking the Zyprexa?
I don't know the dose, but I was taking it for about a year and a half. And once I switched to Abilify, I was just dropping weight rapidly.
And you were taking Zyprexa at nighttime?
Yes, or during the day. During the day.
So in the morning you would take maybe like 5 or 10 milligrams.
Yeah.
And then now you've switched to Abilify.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you know the dose of Abilify that you're on?
I think it might be 15.
15 milligrams in the morning?
Yeah.
So you had a med change, and then what else did you change besides the med that helped you lose weight?
Got on Mirazepam or Remron for my depression and for sleep because I got off of the Zyprexa, which was made for my sleep. I asked the doctor if he can have addition to something that can help me go to sleep because I can't take sleeping pills, regular sleeping pills, or else I get bad insomnia when I'm on those and suicidal for no reason. And it's weird. So I have to take things that induce drowsiness, like the Remron. But it's made for antidepressant. But it's good. It's good for my sleep. I remember I took it on an appointment during the day. I was wondering what had happened, and I started wilting. I was starting to get a little tired and all zoned out. Like I couldn't keep my eyes open, and it wore off probably an hour later, half an hour.
In case this is the first time people are seeing you, will you remind everyone what your major diagnoses are?
Oh, I'm schizoaffective with PTSD, depressive type, or like schizoaffective depressive type with PTSD.
Say someone didn't know what it was, would you just kind of tell them what it means to you and how sort of you define your diagnosis?
Well, okay, the schizoaffective part. The schizo part is obviously the schizophrenia, and that's what I have. And the other part is depressive. It's like depression. I have major depression. So I have more psychosis episodes during depression. I have like persecutory delusions. I have PTSD, which sometimes plays with my schizophrenia. And the PTSD is like from a lot of stuff. And they're thinking I may end up having CPTSD because it wasn't just from one incident. It's from multiple consistent things. Because I have a bully that's a stalker at the same time. I know I sound crazy for saying that, but I do have a girl that is not too fond of me, who likes to see me suffer.
And this girl, she is real to you? Can everybody see her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so she's a real life person.
She's just a real person because she slept with every single guy that I try to be friends with or try to get with. And I remember one time I was like, oh, I may end up getting with a girl. And then she was like, oh, dang, I have to be a lesbian now. I'm like, what? She said that. And she was in college with me. And I got an F in biology, which is proof because she stole all my paperwork for biology, and she got a compliment. Oh, gee, you could have been a doctor, which she got off my work. She erased my name and put her name on my paper. Yeah, it's crazy, and I feel crazy by talking about it. I just want to move on with the subject a little bit because I'm just waiting for a lot more evidence, like video recordings and stuff like that. Because she hates it when I'm happy. So I'm going to live it up.
Can we talk a little more about the weight loss? Because I think there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with weight gain on these antipsychotics. So you went from Zyprexa to Abilify, and then what else did you do to help lose weight?
Exercise and eating healthy, but also I've been fasting for religious purposes, and I don't like to mention that, but this time I do. Because I need to explain. Because I'm fasting for repentance, and I'm fasting for repentance and getting a lot more closer to God and Jesus Christ and all that beautiful stuff. And it has improved my life, seriously. And because I used to be a witch for 15 years. So, and I fell for a lot of things, and I was spellbound by the devil's chains that was spellbound upon me when I was a witch for 15 years. And that was I wasn't normal until now. When I switched to becoming a Christian, things started improving, and that led to the fasting, which led to the weight gain, weight loss.
Weight
No,
loss.
no, no.
I hear you. So you did so the med change, exercise plus fasting, and then what kind of exercise do you do? What's your routine look like, and what kind of workout?
I just the ones I do in my room is sit-ups and push-ups, just enough to get the blood pumping. And if I really feel like it, I go take my bike out for a spin for a while.
And then how often are you fasting, would you say?
Every day. I eat once a day, and only like twice a day in the week I would eat normal, so I can rebuild everything, so I can fast again. Because I feel like I need to repent, but I don't have any eating disorder because I love food. Because when I eat, I actually appreciate it a lot more.
I'm noticing with a lot of patients who take Zyprexa, they're feeling like they have this appetite that cannot be curbed, and all they want to do is just eat, and even when they eat, it's like they're still hungry. Did you experience that at all on Zyprexa?
No, I didn't experience that. I still gained weight even fasting.
And you haven't noticed a change in appetite?
No, my appetite's been the same.
And then how about mental changes you noticed switching from Zyprexa to Abilify? Any cognitive stuff, anything like that?
Oh yeah, a lot more focus. I can stay on subject. I can have a resemblance of a normal life, but I'm not normal, so I like to leave that word out. I like to live a happy, healthy life. And that's all I truly need is that.
Sweet. Can we go through some comments? All right, here's one from Simply Birdie 6481. She's one of our followers. She says, as a possible future psych nurse, I'd like to know things to say or do to help when they're in a bad place. What would you recommend for like staff?
Well, not to put them down, because I've been in the system, and I've been put down for my condition and for believing in things that has happened to me, or I have exaggerated delusions. And I would say the best thing to do is just listen and just actually take everything with a grain of salt, though, and just be there for them, and don't be like making fun of them for what they have. So the best thing that would happen is to listen to what they're talking about. Listen more than what you speak. I forgot who's quotes that, but listen more, because it's a Stoicism quote. Listen more than what you speak.
You kind of mentioned this, but are there any things that stand out to you that's besides what you just mentioned, like some things that maybe aren't so obvious to a lot of staff working in mental health care that they shouldn't do, that you see?
Breaking HIPAA and OSHA and telling everybody's information to other patients, which is Cedar Springs. And I've been abused there, like quite a bit there at Cedar Springs. Any other hospital, it's been cool. But there's this girl named, I'm just going to call her H, and Holly. I'm just going to call her Holly. Yeah, she was like, oh, I'm gonna take his disability away from him since he got it. Yeah, I heard that.
And this is someone who worked there, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, she should have been the patient. I should have been the worker.
Simply Birdie wants to know, as a general member of the public, what are some pros of your mental illness?
Adaptability. I can adapt to weird situations. Like, I don't know about the aliens, but I can adapt to like the paranormal things, because what I've been through from not being a witch. I actually have lived through paranormal experiences before being a witch and after becoming a Christian. But I noticed less things been going on ever since becoming a Christian. Benefits of schizophrenia, I would say creativity too, because I get very creative, and sometimes my delusions are, I know that they're delusions, and I like to draw pictures of those, and they get me inspired right after I'm done dealing with those emotions, or during, so I can get over it.
And she wants to know, what would you say to someone whose child was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia? So let's say you've got a parent and they've got like a 21-year-old who's just been diagnosed with schizophrenia. What would you share with that, or what would you tell that parent?
I'll tell that parent just to there's a lot of things like for me, if what thing that really helped me with my parents, my support system, is that they never really gave up on me. And no, not really. They never have gave up on me, and that's the unconditional support. But I have to realize I have to take it easy on my support, because I don't want to be stressing them out, and causing like them, because I have lost a lot of friends from stressing them out. And I learned from that. And what she would tell the kid is, there's nothing wrong with having schizophrenia and being schizoaffective. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a sickness that, like, it doesn't define you. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's the sickness that really, the symptoms really are very rough. But I would say just reassure them that there's nothing wrong with taking medication. Because some people take medications for the rest of their lives, either for physical or mental.
What is his sleep situation? Does he get enough sleep? Does he take anything for sleep, which you mentioned the Remeron?
Yeah.
And then what meds are you on? So you said Abilify and Remeron. So I guess, do you feel like you're getting enough sleep?
Oh, yeah, I get enough sleep. I don't have nightmares from my PTSD. I just have flashbacks. Yeah, that Remeron helped with sleep and having a healthy sleep hygiene, which means I start getting ready for bed, start prepping myself, and plus like brushing your teeth before going to bed. And
What time do you normally fall asleep, would you say?
probably around 10 or 9, and I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I take a nap in the afternoon sometimes.
So you're getting maybe 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
like everything combined?
And I can live off of 6 for a couple of days.
I want to know what their dreams are like, and I would be asking them to free associate.
That's the best thing I know, like, is sleeping, because I lucid dream. So I live in another world. Like today, I was dreaming. It was realistic. Like we had this one nurse that from my medical health team. She was there in my dream, and somehow she was being snobby, and everybody was acting like and being as a real person. Like everything felt real. They were responding realistically. They sounded realistically, and it was just. It's getting interesting. It's just because with the witchcraft part. With my dreaming, I would try to remote view while dreaming. Oh, remote viewing is getting information or seeing something from, no, not getting information, but seeing like viewing something from a faraway place. Like I would say, like there's this one guy who remote viewed about the moon, and there was aliens there, and they noticed him. They didn't like it, and something happened. I forgot. So that's remote viewing. Like you can see things from a distance. And sometimes I do it on accident because I've done it for so long. And I know it's against my faith to be doing that, but it's a total accident.
The same guy wants to know, he's kind of curious to see how blunted you are emotionally. I also ask people if they would cry if their family died, just to judge whether they have a blunted emotional response. So how do you feel? Like if all of a sudden your family would die, what would be your response?
Panic attack, crying, breaking down, maybe passing out. My emotions are not blunted, and I don't mind these questions. I actually support these questions, and I support about all these questions. I really do.
He also wants to know, do you have any negative thoughts, and what are those negative thoughts?
I have intrusive thoughts, and sometimes that happens because I was traumatized a couple of years ago from a weird happening from my hallucinations, and I don't know if it was real or not, but I was being punished for being like mean and evil. That's what made me turn to Christ, because I swear it was real, like hearing demons and stuff like that. Yeah, those intrusive thoughts, they would either be like very mean, fuck that bitch. I'd be like, what? That's not even me. Like it would just be like coming out of my head for no reason. I don't even feel like that, even subconsciously. So, which freaks me out, because I'm decently in tune with my subconscious, because I like to be in tune with everything about myself, because I actually had a spiritual awakening, so that really has helped with the evil thoughts, though, and like the evil intrusive thoughts. All I do is watch Christian stuff. All I do is I play The Sims, and I draw non-gory things. I don't draw anything about death, but somehow I'm still getting these intrusive thoughts. I've been feeding my mind right. Oh, one thing that really does help is to vision your mind as a river, and to remember that the leaves are your thoughts, and no matter how pretty or ugly that they are, you don't grab the leaves. You just be in an observing state, not in an active state of, oh, this leaf's pretty, or this thought's pretty, and this one's ugly, and just relax and just let it fly by. And especially intrusive thoughts are like bullies too.
Do you think that everybody has, regardless of if they have a diagnosis or not, do you think everybody has intrusive thoughts?
I wouldn't know until I spoke to a lot more people about it.
So it's really just like an unwanted negative thought about something, and you might not even be thinking about what that thought is. It just randomly pops into your head.
Yeah. Even it can be blasphemous thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Which gets me mad. That's why I'm like thinking about like those demons are actually real. Because they say that trauma is a gateway for a demon to get through. I did self-deliverance and I almost puked. It was weird. Like I was like rejecting like what was in my body. Self-deliverance, it's like a voluntary expelling of a demon. It's a step before an exorcism, I would say. Because I would prefer that self-deliverance before getting an exorcism, which isn't good. Because my friend has been through that. I don't want to say who. But my friend's doing better now. She is good. She's awesome. She's cool. She turned to Christ and everything is lovely. And now her life is turning better again too. And we stuck by her and we may end up thinking she may end up having schizophrenia too, but we haven't talked to her about it. We're just trying to see. But she's doing better now because I checked in with the family member. And because, they can say one thing like, oh, I'm fine. Sure. And I just want to make sure. So I checked up on her. She's doing really good.
If you were to become, like, say, a danger to yourself or to somebody else because of your mental symptoms, how would somebody else know on the outside? Or what would they have to ask you to figure out?
I would say the quite obvious sign of like somebody, like knowing somebody's in a crisis is, when they're shouting, they're yelling. And I've been placed in restraints. Yeah, and I said some not so nice things. That was because they were like making fun of me, like the EMTs were, for going in too much in the ER. So I went off, and I would say I don't know how to interpret that question. Recently, things have been pretty good with my mental health. Things have been improving, getting to work or furthering my education, which is great, and which I'm very happy about and proud of myself. Because I used to be a workaholic before my disease hit. I used to work quite a bit, like in college, because I never had good grades in school, like in grade school. So I did better with college, and I improved and I excelled quite quickly.
And what are you going back to college for?
Computer animation. Because I am an artist and I would like to see my creations come to life, and plus to tell like my stories into a format where it's not just about me. It could be like about other things that I experienced and like what other people went through. And I just want to make something about mental health, like animation about mental health, something that's real, something that everybody can relate to. And
someone asked, I wonder if the voices he hears are kind of like spiritual guides.
I wouldn't say the voices I would hear, I wouldn't think that they're spiritual guides. I like to call them specters. I would like to see them as living, because I always do prayers in my room. It's just the spiritual part is like when I would do like prayers and making sure there's nothing demonic around, because it's like an irritant for them. It repels them. They don't want to be around. So which gives me a window opportunity to like chat with them real quick, because they don't talk back, but I would chat with them, and sometimes I would hear like a voice, because it reminded me like a ghost, kind of like it would be far but near, but it would be audible for everybody. And I remember I have experienced a lot of things, and due to my faith, I don't believe in spirit guides. That's a nice question, though. I think they're real to me. And I treat them like people, and they sound like guides too, because they warn me. So yeah, they're like guides, but I wouldn't call them spirit guides.
What do you think of this? Someone replied to my mom's comment. They said that I know that in other less individualistic countries, schizophrenics' voices do tend to be more positive, even helpful, like ancestors, spirit guides, etc. Mm-hmm. In America, they apparently tend to be more angry voices. And then I'm glad it sounds like this hasn't been this man's experience, but what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, very happy. These voices don't abuse me. They don't mistreat me. I actually stay in my room because that's where I feel the safest. And I live in this room because that's where I talk to God and the specters. And Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit too, all in one room. What was the question again?
Yeah, they were asking. Well, I think it was more of a statement, but I wanted to get your opinion. But they said that in less individual countries, schizophrenic voices tend to be more positive.
Oh yeah, mine is positive and helpful. Sometimes they warn me, or they say like, "Oh, I like his artwork," or "That's cool," or "How is he doing today?" And if I'm being bad, that's when they start start criticizing me and judging me, and it seems like I find it as helpful. I find it really helpful though, because in my life, this bully would tell people not to tell me anything that I'm doing wrong. So I would never get smart and correct myself. But now I got smart enough where I'm self-correcting. I'm always like, because those voices really do make me feel like I'm at home. And when I'm like at other places, and if they're like, I don't hear them, I get lonely. Because I'm used to hearing talking when I'm awake, talking when I go to sleep, and my parents talking, so that's just normal. And sometimes I do listen to ambient noises with chatters, because it reminds me of them.
Let me ask you, so what if it turned out that this whole thing was just a hoax, your diagnosis, so to speak, but the voices actually were real, but in some other dimension or something that people like me didn't have access to, but only you had access to it? What would that mean for everything for you?
Well, it means that I'm a lot more connected to this world and the other, and that makes me very, makes me feel special though. It makes me feel special, which I really need, because my bully has really fucked with me so hard. They are undoing what the bully has done to me. I even talked to God and be like, hey, these guys are awesome. I would even vouch for them. Like, yeah, they're awesome.
Let me just read. I think this is just an incredible comment. It comes from Pablo Finamore. This was from our last interview. He said, I really enjoyed this interview. As someone who also has schizoaffective disorder, I found Brandon to be a super down-to-earth, likable guy. He really shows so much strength in how he accepts his symptoms. I also believe in the paranormal and have unfortunately had very close encounters with it. Brandon's insight into this is interesting, to say the least. I think this guy is awesome, and I hope he prospers. He has a beautiful voice and perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? That's an incredible comment, dude.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. So, sorry, I forgot the question. Sorry, I kind of get like sidetracked because I get so happy that I forget the question.
It's all good.
I get so happy I forget the question. That is pretty interesting that he has experience too with the paranormal, because as do I. Even before being a witch, I have experienced things, and it's just weird because my friends would freak out and they would pretend like they see nothing. And they seen the same thing. Next day I ask them, and it like never happened. It's weird. It's so weird. You sound like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. So wait, what do you think's going on with your friends? They're there, they experience it, they act as though they're experiencing something. The next day, you ask them, and they're like what? I don't remember that, or that didn't happen. Kind of like what? What do you think's going on?
I don't know. It's just not all my friends. Just a few of them. Just a few of them have done that, and my ex-fiance has done that to me. He would always keep secrets away from he would keep secrets about paranormal stuff that he had witnessed. He would keep it as a secret, even though it's not a secret to me. So if that makes any sense.
Someone said, "Holy hell, his art is incredible."
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been. I took college courses, but that really helped. That really helped further my education with art. Yeah, the artwork has been very a good outlet for. I crochet. I paint. I like to sing. I like to do philosophy. I try to fill up my time with positive things so I can say I lived a happy, healthy life. And despite all the turbulence I will and I have been through. This is Rain. This is my emotional support cat.
I got a kitty.
She's very good. She's the sweetest kitty ever.
Let's talk about the witch thing, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be curious. You said 15 years you're a witch, right?
Yeah.
Will you go into more detail about, I guess, first what it means to be a witch?
Well, I was a male witch, but I didn't use the manipulating witch part with people. I didn't use that manipulation like my bully does. She does that type of witchcraft. But the ones I would do is remote viewing, clairvoyance, but I would not use tarot cards nor a Ouija board. I would meditate. I have opened my third eye before becoming a Christian. I've done all this before becoming a Christian. I do believe that I have seen things, I have witnessed things, I've experienced things that it messed with my head so hard that it's real. It's like some things are real, and I don't really want to get into that because I don't want to get people I don't know. I kind of get nervous about knowledge, about like certain knowledge talk about.
And how would somebody know if someone else is a witch?
Oh, now these days, there's this. It's just you just ask simply.
And if they say yes, then obviously they are. If they say no, then they aren't.
Yeah, yeah, but if they're like doing like, here I have a good example of a thing that looks witchy, but it isn't. It's called a plumb bob. See, this looks witchy, but it isn't. It's for art. It's a plumb bob, and some of these people would use it for like questions like yes or no, and or either to tell like if something, like if it's good or bad, because like this is why you have to pray over your food, because there's witches out there contaminating crap. I know I used to be one. I'm kind of tossed a little bit shade.
So what happened? How did you go from being a witch to not being a witch?
Well, my trauma with having like something like getting mad at me for being like evil and mean, because when I was trying to get I was trying to get my own sense of justice, and that didn't that turned out wrong. And that turned out completely wrong, and I lost a lot of friends and stuff. But now I see what I've done, and I really keep my eyes out of not doing it again, because I love my friends.
I know you've kind of touched on some of these things, but what are some of the benefits of being a witch?
There's nothing really beneficial about being a witch. You are spellbound by the illusion of the devil.
So what's the worst part about being a witch?
The oppression and the less special that you look. Because if you have God on your side, because I had natural abilities before being a witch too. I had some natural, weird, curious abilities, and I think everybody has a natural gift, like intuition. Like everybody has intuition, like, oh, my gut's turning, like something's saying no, or check up on this person. But the worst part about being a witch is that demonic oppression, like all that stuff, like even like hex, like people who do hexes. They are the ones who are going to pay more than anybody, because they've done it. They know what happened, and plus, it's just when that judgment happens, they're going to be crushed, because it's just revenge isn't the way. Yeah, being a witch was quite interesting. Things are. It was interesting though. I would say I got some insight, but I could have got insight from being with God and seeing it vicariously from, from like watching, studying people and stuff like that. That's why I'm a hardcore super Christian. I try to be, is because that witchcraft is no good. Once I got out of it, I'm not going back, because faith is what's keeping me here too, and that faith has been refilling me, especially with Jesus Christ. He's been refilling my hope and helping me stick to the straight and narrow to lead to the Father.
What would happen if you didn't have religion to lean on?
I would be really corrupted. Very corrupted. It would have been the man's law that would have won. An eye for an eye, but there's a saying, eye for an eye, we all go blind. I'm just happy that you guys are watching this and you made it this far, because it's really nice. Because there's a saying I made earlier today, and like, if you lend an ear, you'll be heard. And I'm happy that I'm being heard, because you're lending an ear, but I'm hearing you too, and it's quite nice. Because that's what I mean is lend an ear, like I'm listening to you, then you will be heard. Which means like people who are invested into something, instead of like like not really listening, that type of thing. So that's what I see.
What do you have to say about other people who have similar symptoms to you? Like pretend they were in the room. What kind of advice would you give them?
Bring up a scenario, because I can't. I work better under scenarios.
Let's say that they are just having a difficult time controlling voices that they're hearing, and the voices just keep saying negative things over and over and over to them, and they're having a hard time just shutting it out so they can stay focused.
Would totally say that just let it. They're like bullies. The more that you pay attention to them, but it's just sometimes they are unrelenting to some people. And that's what's makes me feel sad, because I'm having a great time and they're not. Mm-hmm. So I would say I would tell them that the voices don't know what they're talking about. They don't know you, even though they've been with you. They don't know you like God does. He knows your heart. He knows your soul. And the reason I'm bringing God quite a bit, because it's just, that's who I am.
So, how do you feel your diagnoses have affected your social life in terms of being able to make friends and maintain friendships and all of that?
I would say my paranoia, plus that also just, that my PTSD plays with my paranoia for my schizophrenia. But also, no, both of them has paranoia, schizophrenia and the PTSD. So I get extra paranoid, and sometimes I isolate myself, and I don't talk to my friends really that often. But lately, I've been talking to them a lot more. I've been trying to be, not trying. I've been working on it because I've been doing it, and it has been pretty. Like my friendships have grew quite a bit. Because in the past, when my schizophrenia was bad, I lost a lot of friends because I went on Facebook, left it as a diary. I know that was immature, but also I was like getting mad because I was sick and nobody was listening. Everybody was just telling me go to the hospital, and before that they were like, "Oh, come to me if you need anything," and afterwards they're like, it was just cruel. But I have a small group now of friends, which makes me happy. Which thankfully, like, I actually know who my true friends are.
When you form a relationship with somebody, how important is it for that person to know about your symptoms and things like that?
Oh well, because sometimes I talk different from other people, and memories. See, like as you see, I'm like having a little bit of trouble like remembering like a couple minutes before, but my memory is getting better compared to the last time when I went on tangents, and it's just. I just have a smaller group of friends, and when I meet a new friend, I let them know like, hey, I have schizoaffective, because I don't want to be like spending time with somebody who doesn't like anybody who has a mental illness. So I would rather be straightforward, and if they leave, well, dodge the bullet. Like, oh, I don't want to be around somebody who's sick in the head or something
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
because there are some people out there that don't understand because they haven't been through it. And I'm not throwing any shade at them. They just, I guess it's something they have to see for themselves.
Anything else you want to add?
I've been doing a lot more art. I've been crocheting a lot more. I'm trying to make like this shawl over here, but this is more of a kid's shawl, and I want it like a button, like in the center. And I still need to tie in the ends, so yeah, it's a shawl for a kid. Yeah, see, I still have like dangling ends, tails. Yeah, this is corner to corner crochet.
How long did that take? I think it's incredible.
It took probably a couple of weeks because I'm using the 2-weight yarn, which means it's like baby yarn, it's sport yarn. It's thinner from regular yarn that you see that people crochet from, which is worsted weight. Because I like it because it's very detailed. It's a very detailed yarn, and it's big enough for a kid, not big enough for an adult. I have to have it like the wingspan of like of an angel. Like before I end it, I just want to say like thank you guys for listening, lending an ear, and I heard you guys from your questions and your statements, and thank you. I have never been interviewed and so well. And I'm thanking you for your respect. I'm very thankful for your respect, and thank you so much.